Hi, this is Sharon with Psychic Miss Paranormal. Tonight I want to do a little comparison for you of some outside light sources for your infrared and full spectrum cameras. So what made me want to do this video is because ghost investigating can be quite expensive, and the cameras are expensive enough, and some of them have internal light sources for infrared and full spectrum, but many of them don't. So you need an outside light source. And even when you do have one that does have an internal source, an outside light source gives you better range of view. So it can be quite expensive, and the lights can be really expensive too. So I'm going to compare some of these light sources for you to give you an idea of what you're looking at price-wise and what you can get for the money. But I also want to show you a cheat that is great to use, and it's super cheap and it works just fine. So I'm going to start with the super cheap first, because that's always the good news. And I'm going to work my way up from there. And I mean, obviously you can see that real expensive lights are great, and they get even more expensive than the ones I'm going to show you. I mean, you can buy a light for $300 or more. But yeah, so let's start. So you see here I have two flashlights. The larger one is an IR flashlight. The small one's a UV flashlight. They cost $15 for the IR and $10 for the UV. And these two together are the cheat that I was telling you about. They make more light than a lot of the smaller or even medium-sized outside lighting sources for your full spectrum and IR cameras. So let's check these out now. So here is my full spectrum camera without the without any light source, and this particular camera does have a built-in inside light source. I'm gonna put that on now. So there you go. You could see pretty good, right? So now I'm going to use the IR flashlight I was talking about. Look how much brighter that is. That is pretty good, isn't it? Without it, with it, I'm just seeing a flying orb. Could have been a fly. Without it, with it. Now, I'm going to shut it off again. And now I have the ultraviolet light, and you can still see that. So that adds to the ultraviolet spectrum. I'm going to put this down for a second, the camera. And you can see both that's the ultraviolet. There we go, ultraviolet and the infrared all together, both of them together. So you see it really makes a difference. Light off now, and it's dark. So here's the infrared light. You can see it's not on, but when you turn it on, with this camera you can't really see it, but you can see how it's making the halos there. If I shut it off, you won't see anything. When I do this, it usually looks red inside, all the way down inside, but it's invisible to the eye. So when you flash it, you're not going to see anything. Watch. Well, like I said, it's reacting with my cell phone camera, but normally you wouldn't see anything. So don't think it doesn't work just because, you know, you don't see anything. This is the ultraviolet light, and you will see this one. Turn it on, and you can see really good. That does shine, and it's like a bluish purple light. Alright, so now we're going to put the internal light back on. There we go. I'm going to put this down too, because I have a full spectrum. It has both infrared and ultraviolet light. There we go. That's right next to my camera, like right next to it. It's giving off pretty good light, as you can see. It's not as much in the further distance, so I'm going to go put it in that room. Let's see the difference. Okay, so now it's in that room, and as you can see, it's a little bit brighter. Looks pretty good, yes? This is the light that I paid $60 for. Now, I have the infrared flashlight right next to the camera, where the light that's on now in the kitchen is first. when I first had it next to the camera. Now I'm going to add the infrared light from the flashlight. My, oh my, look at that. So as you can see, a couple dollar flashlight made even more difference than the infrared light and the ultraviolet light that's built together is doing in the kitchen right there. And let's see what happens if I turn off my light source for the camera. Uh-oh, I don't really see anything. There's the light. You can only see, there's 5 lights, but you can only see 4 lit up. And that's because the other 2, like I said, are invisible. So there you go, you can see some. I'll back up with it. But yeah, it's not really doing so great. So if I had a regular camcorder without a built-in light, there's the light reacting to my camera. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't really get anything. So here's the light source with my camera again. And I have the same $60 light on. Now let me shut the $60 light off. It doesn't really make a whole big difference, but makes some. And we'll compare it with the IR flashlight right now. So it's better. Okay, here we'll shut the IR off on the camera again, and we'll use the IR flashlight. Does the same thing. You can see it works. Let me go into the other room and see how it is. I put it in the same place as I had the $60 light. So in that case, because the $60 light has the ultraviolet, so you can see that. Remember I said that infrared light was invisible? Well, here's a great example of that. So now let's add the ultraviolet light to it. Now I have both flashlights, the infrared and ultraviolet. And it's kind of doing the same thing the other one does. The other one might have been a little bit brighter. But so you can see, you really can get a good start with these flashlights instead of spending a lot of money. So let's put our internal light camera on. This is what the $60 light looks like. And as you can see, it has a place to mount that or slide it into another mount, like a hot shoe or something. And then I'll turn it on for you so you can see what it looks like. You can see that there's the 2 ultraviolet lights, and then these 3 are the infrared. But you can't see them. They will react to the camera, but the ultraviolet lights are too bright, so you won't really see that. Alright, so here's the camera on without its internal light, and here is the internal light. And then right next to that light, again, like I had the other ones, I have the Phasm Light. I'm going to turn the IR on. As you can see, it lights up pretty good. I'm a whole room away. And then it also has a UV light. I turn that on. You really can't see the difference when the UV comes on, but it does make a difference with the spectrum that you could see through. Now this light also has some color lights. So I'm going to put them on. Now this is pretty bright on my end, but you really can't tell much of a difference from this perspective. So I'm going to take it into that room like I did with the other ones. And then I'm going to put them on so you can see the difference. That's the IR. IR with UV. Shut the UV off. Put on the color light. And that is the Phasm Light. Alright, and then this is back to without the internal IR camera light on. So here is the Phasm Light. This is what I just showed you. All these are lights. It's really cool. Here's the IR lights. Normally, you would only see a little bit of red when you look at it, but this is reacting to my camera. You can see there's a lot of them. This is the UV light. Oh, it's bright here, but there's really, if I could put it sideways, it's only the ones that are right here in the middle. If I put the IR lights on with it, it's a lot there. I'm going to shut these two off. And then they have another bunch down here. It's all different colors. And you can also adjust the brightness. I'm going to show you the colors. I went through these in the first demonstration. And then of course you could put the IR light and the UV light on and have all, I think it's 52 lights. And you can adjust the brightness to nothing and go all the way up. So it's a pretty good light. It's called the Phasm Light. It's $90. It also has, as you can see, there's 3 magnets on each side. There's only 2 on this side because here's a mount for a tripod. You know, it'll stick to the surface, which makes it really handy, especially for the things I use it for. Or you could stack them together. The magnets are really strong. But anyway, there you have it. As you can see, lighting makes a big difference. You don't have to go out and buy really expensive lighting, especially when you're just starting out. So I hope that I showed you how this makes a difference in this video, and thank you for watching. This is Char with Psychic Mist. Have a nice night.